get it. No. They're not gonna send the photos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So it was 4. Let me take it to 7.
No, he's gonna play the one that is not.
Yeah, let me take it to 7. Yeah, Rumes.
Oh, no, but share the link. So, usap ka registration. Tingkat sama.
Yeah, okay, so much. I will have that one more thing.
Malu banget.
Saya harus juga
I think that event yang kena itu terus.
So should I tell the DJ about the music? Should I tell the DJ about the music?
Do it.
I don't know copyright what.
No. I get it when they go live. When we go to do the music, we're not gonna broadcast that. I hope he knows what I'm saying. Yeah, it's already live now.
Hola, register. That lady who went to. I don't see it.
So what is the little thing more?
I want one. I want to see.
So remember all the things something to the thing to this. The man performs on a glass.
I want to see that. I don't want anyone to go in us.
Ubo yuri na ina kanya di download. Isare maybe mela utere. This is so hard. The company you log in before that.
Try this Zoom.
Good evening, everybody. Are we all seated, all comfortable? Everybody happy? Anybody outside still? I'm just going to go over here because there's a couple of things that I'd like to get out of the way before we get started officially. So you're all here for the free food, so let's get that out of the way. You have got a menu in front of you. The menu has got options. You can't have every option. You've got to select, all right? So do that now very quickly because the waiters are going to come around and they come and can collect your menu. You need to put your name at the top, otherwise they're going to give your food to somebody else. So let's take a minute or two very quickly. You've got some lovely options there. Obviously, you can't choose a different bread. What's on the table is there, but you do need to choose your starter, and then you need to choose your main course. Don't try and say any of the stuff on the menu because nobody can. Just tick off what you want and hope for the best. And then your plate dessert there at the bottom, which is the main thing. It is chocolate ganache tart versus nougat panna cotta. They both sound delicious. I'm going to tick off both. You're not allowed to do that, but I'm going to. So just so you know. So let's do that very quickly. Needs silence when people deal with food matters. Very important. And just take note, as always happens in all food scenarios, the other person's food, the thing you did not select, is going to look and taste better than yours. So it doesn't matter what you choose, the other one's going to be better, okay? So now you're going to cross out your tick very quickly and choose the other one. All right, everybody done? Yeah, all right. A few more house courtesy rules. Bathrooms, you've seen them, they're outside, left and right, male and female. I don't have to indicate to you what that is. The other thing that you're here for is the free Wi-Fi. So let me tell you what the password is. I think it is Erinvale, guest at Erinvale is the one you choose on your phone. The password is your, which one was it? So tell me again, your welcome, as in capital Y with your, and welcome capital W, your welcome. So there's your free Wi-Fi. Now, as for smoking, are there any smokers in the house this evening? Put up your hand. 1, 2. Only 2 smokers. All right. So this is what you do. You walk out of the building, you get into your car, and then you get back onto the N2, and you head north. It's not too far. You'll get to the Huguenot Tunnel. You know where the Huguenot Tunnel is? Yeah, you get to the Huguenot Tunnel. Don't go through the tunnel, go over the top. There's a lookout post there, all right? Now you stop there, and that's where you're allowed to smoke. No, you carry on until you get to Worcester. No, I'm kidding. It's right. You got to actually, I apologize for this, but this is just the rules of Erinvale. At the main gate is where you're allowed to smoke, or at the main gate. So you literally have to, it's a bit of an effort. So you must really want that nicotine if you're going to want to smoke. Welcome, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Bobby Brown. I am a technology communicator and a science journalist. I love this stuff. I love what Zadna does. I've been involved with them now for a good while, trying to get people to know that Zadna exists, 1, and 2, what it is that they do. So the first .za Awards, this is the inaugural one. There's going to be more. We're going to focus on the most popular DNS, call it influencer if you will, that worked on the internet in the last year or so. So there's only one category this evening. We'll get to that a little bit later. They are expanding the awards for 24-25. So next year there are going to be more categories. So I want to spend a moment quickly telling you about those categories because I want you to share this far and wide. Speaking of sharing, before I go there, if you are going to take videos, pictures this evening, I encourage you to please use the hashtag .za_awards. .za_awards, it's the good one, and that'll make everybody see that you're here and wish that they were along with you. And then share with everybody the fact that there's going to be more categories next year. They're expanding. So there's 1 this year. Next year there are going to be 5 more. So it's top DNS personality. That's the one we're doing this evening. And then as of 2025, there's going to be the Zadna Members Awards. There's going to be the top emerging R&R, RAR. There's going to be the best designed and accessible websites. And there's going to be the top.za registrar. So those are the brand new categories for the new year. let people know about that, because I do have a sneaky suspicion that this awards is going to be the industry standard. It's going to be the thing that everybody in the DNS environment is going to be looking forward to every year. So take a snapshot of how small we are this year. It's a tiny gathering. There's like a handful of you. And you'll be able to say in coming years that you were there when it all began, it all started. And you can show them photographic evidence if they ask for it. So we have got a couple of interesting speakers this evening. Obviously, some of the executives from Zadna is going to address you a little bit later. Look, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? There's no such thing as a free gala dinner either. The payment is your ears. So you're going to have to listen now that you've ticked off what you're going to eat. But they'll all be fairly short. And then we've invited a special guest to come and address us this evening, a little bit later, about cyber security. So you might be wondering what that's got to do with anything at all. And the answer is it's got everything to do with everything these days. The internet is now ubiquitous. I mean, it's involved in every aspect of your life. And you can no longer be on the internet without some sort of cyber security. The two things are in an eternal marriage, and they cannot be divorced. If you are on the internet, and if you keep on clicking next time when Norton antivirus pops up, you are putting yourself at risk, because there are people whose daily job it is to try and fool you and to steal all your money on the internet. So somebody's going to come talk to us a little bit about that, the future of the internet and cybersecurity, and how those two things get together. So that's all coming up a little bit later. But first, I want to invite onto the stage a man that I met a good long while ago when I first started sort of interacting with Zadna many years ago. And we have had some interesting conversations over the years about Zadna and what it means. And this awards cropped up a good couple of years ago about what these awards could potentially look like and what they could be and where they're going to head. So I'm going to introduce you to him in just a mo. But something I forgot is that this is being live streamed at this very moment. So now that you have free internet, let your friends and your family know that they can see you on the internet right now. Live. It's live streaming on Zadna's YouTube channel. Also, it's a closed live stream on Zoom at the moment. Hello, everybody online. But they can go to YouTube, to the Zadna channel, and they can go and see you and me, but mostly you, on the internet right now. So, the CEO of .co.za, one of our very first, not .co.za, excuse me, .za, because they are the regulator for .za, not only .co.za. One of our first conversations revolved around the brand equity for Zadna and how one makes Zadna more visible to the general public, one, and two, make the general public understand what it is Zadna does and why Zadna matters. And this is a topic that's close to my heart because I'm ultimately a patriot in that way. I love everything about what we do and how we do it. And I think we've got great potential on the African continent and worldwide to be world leaders when it comes to how we regulate the internet. But enough from me. You are ready to eat. We're going to eat very shortly, our starters. But before we get to that, the CEO of Zadna, Molewesi, if you can come and join us on the stage, please. And I know you're a small crowd, but you are allowed to applaud.
I'll try my best. It seems like this podium was not made for someone vertically challenged like me. So but yeah, really, good evening, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try. I have a speech for a change. I wrote down a speech, but I'll try to maybe improvise as we go along because one has a very short period on the podium. Thank you very much for introducing me, Bobby. And welcome, colleagues, to this event. And I think maybe for context, really, the thank you must really go to my team. I won't share the bruising, the fights that we have had leading up to this, but I think they were quite enjoyable in one way or the other because we learned through a specific process. And I always believe in a simple mantra that I think my team really personifies, which is, you know, fail fast, fall forward, fail cheap. I'm not going to claim credit for that. I think it was one of the greatest authors in leadership that actually coined that phrase, and it's mostly used by those that are within the agile space. Simply meaning, thank you very much to the team. And I think, Bobby, to yourself, there's a statement you made. At least my paymasters will know that at least we're trying to improve the brand equity of the organization. So thank you for that. My bonus is coming, I know. But with that said, I have to acknowledge my board represented by the board chair, the deputy chair of the board, and also Mema Lapani, who also wears the head of HR Remco as the chair that side. Thank you very much for gracing us, and colleagues from the industry, partners, and I believe those that we work with quite closely. It's just that can't see everyone because of the light. Thank you for coming through. Really, just for context, these particular awards came about as we were dabbling with the idea of how do we bring our members together, how do we bring our key stakeholders to the party to really start and foster proper stakeholder engagement. And that's how we came about to say, let's recognize those that are doing well within the industry and focus less on the regulation. As such, and as proposed by, or rather mentioned by the MC, for now we are just going to award one category, which is the top personality, speaking to that influential person within the internet ecosystem. But it goes without saying we're going to talk more about, in the later period. Hopefully it will be later in the year, not even next year. I'm just crossing my fingers, of course, if the process runs smoothly and openly and transparently. We would be recognizing a best performing registrar. This, of course, will go to, as the name says it, one of those RAs that are doing quite well within the industry in many other factors that we'll articulate later in terms of the criteria, and also best imaging. What is quite interesting about our space is that most of the RAs are small, medium enterprises. So it only goes to say they are not big players. We need to focus on those with small operations that are actually, doing their own bit. And I saw one in the audience here, or two in the audience, and we'll have a pleasure of being addressed by another one later this evening. And then, of course, a member award. So this one will be that specific member that members believe and firmly see that they are partaking in, of course, embodying the values as enshrined in our constitution of providing a non-discriminatory, involved, and transparent internet within the country. Over and above that, one that actually, partake in most of the activities that we engage in as ZEDNA. And lastly, the website. So this one, just to be more technical over and above what was indicated, is really looking at recognizing that's the main category. It doesn't mean that we'll leave it at that. Hopefully we'll expand that specific category because we have various entities within the space, within the specific sectors that design according to the needs of that specific sector. So it is only fair to recognize them according to their uniqueness. I think I'm just gonna note one colleague here who comes from an ISP that looks after universities. They have a specific way they design their website, so it's only fair. Even though there's only 26, we need to recognize the good work that they are doing in terms of accessibility and so forth. So really, in those few words, these are the awards that we will be launching today. And of course, recognizing one of our own, whom of course will be announced later on this evening. And I really appreciate seeing familiar faces, and thank you for coming through and celebrating with us. Cheers.
Thank you, Mole Wesi, CEO of ZADNA. Thank you for the warm applause there. So this is our first moment to just enjoy the evening. I just want to acknowledge, I don't know if there are any Muslims in our audience this evening. I know one of our crew is. Anybody else? No, it is the first day of the holy month of Ramadan, so Muslims are fasting. So if you are breaking your fast at this point in time, this is the first moment in which you can do that, as we take a bit of a breather with the musical interlude and our starters. I'll be back shortly. Can I have a warm round of applause for the prawn starter, please? What a nice bite it had that was, hey? Nice palate cleanser there. All right, let's continue with the formalities this evening. We're going to have our main course very, very shortly. But I thought we'll just get on with it. So I was asked a little bit earlier by somebody, it's very unconventional for the MC of a gala dinner, a formal, very fancy event. I mean, it's fancy. You know it's fancy because they're giving you prawns, right? And red wine. The minute there's prawns on the menu, it's fancy. So why is the MC of a fancy event like this wearing a baseball cap? You know, this is unconventional. It's not something that's known and that's done. So I said, well, you'll notice that it's not just any old baseball cap. It's a Zadna baseball cap, right? And I was given this baseball cap, Molehi and Palesa, 5, maybe 6 years ago, right? And I've worn it a few times, as you can tell, maybe more than once. So the reason I wore it this evening, because I saw it, I've got a display of baseball caps, and I wasn't going to wear one this evening because I'm wearing a formal jacket, and I walked past and I thought, hold on, I'm going to wear a baseball cap because it's an IT crowd, and you know, IT crowd, their fashion sense is, shall we say, a little bit questionable, right? And I'm not just talking about my table. I'm talking about the other tables as well. So I think I think they would accept I think they would accept. I think they would accept an MC with a baseball cap. But also, I want to send a message to the executive of Zadna that it's been long enough since I've had a new baseball cap. You can see that this one has been around the block a few times, and I desperately need a new one. So, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You know where to find me. If you have any new baseball caps, please, may I have one for my next Zadna event. With that having been said, I recognized Palesa a little bit earlier. Let me tell you who she is. She's in fact the chairperson of Zadna. She's our keynote speaker this evening, and I'd like to invite her onto the stage, please. A warm round of applause for Ms. Palesa Lekgose.
Around us a lot of oh, good evening. My mic wasn't working. Now it's working. I saw a lot of faces that I've known for about 2 decades. I think with some of the faces here, we've come a long way. When I was still, somebody said, when you were 3 decades, no, it's 2 decades, William, not 3. Someone said to me, are you Palesa Banda? Then he looked at my tag, but no. But Palesa, you went to Banda at some point. I'm like, oh yes, but now I'm Lagos. So yeah, so that's how long I've been here. I was a baby when I started, got married in the sector and all of that. So yeah. So good evening, everyone. You know, I think this has been a long time coming. You know, I think this is a significant milestone in the domain name industry that we're having this occasion to launch, you know, the ZA Awards, in recognition of, you know, of recognizing and celebrating, you know, entities and people, you know, who are doing excellent work in the domain name industry in terms of management, innovation, you know, and also engaging the sector as a whole. We want to award as ZEDNA, but working in collaboration with our members and the sector, you know, contributions that have people who have contributed significantly in the growth and development of the ZEDNA ecosystem. This inaugural ceremony signifies not just the occasion of festivity, but I think also the intent that we have, or the intent that ZEDNA, you know, truly, you know, is all about growing the sector, you know, recognizing that there are people who are doing good work. And also that, you know, with this tradition, it's not just about the festivity, but, you know, that this will be an enduring tradition. Like Bobby Brown said when he started, that this is only the beginning. We intend to have, you know, to grow these awards into a far larger space, and, you know, so that we can touch a whole lot of South Africans. Because for my take is that, you know, we are here discussing the internet and, you know, the awards, DNS, you know, DNS awards and all of that. But then I think we're leaving a lot of people behind. How do we begin to ensure that we leave no one behind, that we begin to transform and get everybody to be part of this so that their voices can be heard? With this annual event, we endeavor to put a spotlight on the industry's achievement, inspiring and present and future generations to continually push the boundaries of innovation and collaboration. I think this morning what stood out for me is the lady, when we were at iWeek, the lady who made the presentation to say that how the West views Africa in terms of innovation and what we can do is not what we're capable of, because it is assumed that we should just consume what other people develop for us. I think it's about time, as we sit in this room, to say that we'll show them that they will be, you know, consuming what we as Africans develop. So for me, I would want to see that. And, you know, I think also what's key is collaboration. I think for those who were not here earlier, today we will be, because I saw some people came in after the first speeches were made. There are 5 categories for 2024, 2025. But for this evening, we'll be only announcing the top personality award. And the other 5 awards that would be for next year would be for the top registrar, ZA top honorary award for non-commercial SLDs, best design and accessible website, and as a top emerging registrar. So those would be for 24-25. I think what is key also is about, emerging, because you don't only want to focus on those who have been in the system for a long time, but those who are coming in, so that it makes sense. It's exciting, when you have something to look forward to say that, if I achieve this, I know that most of you, I know in this room that you do this because of the passion, not necessarily because of anything else. It's because you love what you do. So, but we would want to get new blood, the young ones to come in and have the same passion. Because when you're talking about, the digital revolution and all of that, if we South Africa do not take care of the network, the infrastructures and all of that, then who are we? What are we going to do going forward? Because we don't want ZA to disappear from, the online environment. We want to ensure that we exist, because ZA is our, identifier online as South Africa. So it's one of those things that we need to protect. And also, I think I was speaking to Mark earlier, and he was saying that, South Africa has so much capacity and capability. We need to hold other people's hands in other countries to show them that they can do it also. Because for me, you cannot survive in a sea of where when it's messy and you are the only one who's surviving and who's making it, then there's something wrong with that picture. We have to take everybody along. And also beyond this gathering here tonight, the purpose of this is to grow, and to promote the growth, reliability, and security of ZNA domain namespace. And this can be achieved by meaningful dialogue with the industry leaders. Like I said, collaboration, being able to speak to each other and share challenges and see how we grow together. As ZNA, we aim to address patterning challenges in the DNS industry while exploring new avenues for expansion and improvement. As this night unfolds, I think, people who've been here for a long time, there are other people that are new, and it would be nice to really network and get to know the people around the room, so that we know how, when we move forward, how do we move forward together, as an industry, and how do we do it for South Africa, not necessarily for ourselves, but for future generations. Let us collectively celebrate the remarkable achievement of the industry and reaffirm an unwavering commitment to drive positive change and innovation in the digital sphere. And on behalf of the Domain Name Authority, we express our heartfelt gratitude to all people who've attended. I know that there are other things that people could be doing, but it took an effort for you to be here to celebrate with us. And I hope that in the spirit, we'll move together as ZNA and the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Palesa Legos, the chairperson of ZNA. So this is the point where we have our guest speaker, and before I invite him onto the stage, I want to tell you why what he's going to be talking to us about is so critical. And I think too many people separate cybersecurity from the internet. It's one or the other, when in fact, the two things are now joined at the hip, and should be, because I cannot think of a single thing these days that, whether it's a practical thing or a service or a physical thing of some sort, that you cannot somehow get on the internet. The saying these days is there's an app for it. If you can think of it, there's an app for it. And if there isn't, you should make one. Because there's probably an app for every single thing these days. The problem is now we're moving very steadily into the IoT space. This is where your fridge and your microwave oven and your Hoover vacuum cleaner is going to have their own Facebook accounts, and they're going to say terrible things about you. So now the thing is, how do you protect yourself against the vitriol of your fridge? And how do you make sure that your fridge continues to order the things that you want? There are hackers everywhere and there's scams around every single corner. And if you're clicking out of your next Norton antivirus update, then maybe you should reconsider your priorities. Because, and with the advent of artificial intelligence, it's going to become an actual industry. It already is in parts of the world. It's an industry to scam people. There are buildings set up and their main purpose is to take all your money. And artificial intelligence, I'm not so worried about AI, about artificial intelligence. I think our biggest concern is not artificial intelligence, but more natural stupidity. Because imagine those two things come together. Imagine natural stupidity and artificial intelligence form an alliance against us, right? And you've already seen examples of these. That is the catastrophe. That is the Terminator waiting to happen. But for those people who just employ artificial intelligence for, say, good purposes, there's still a concern. So cybersecurity is a very, very big concern, which is why Zadne invited our next speaker this evening. If you are angry about the increase in the petrol price, you can blame him for it as well. He is the cybersecurity head, the IT manager for Engen South Africa, and he's also a cybersecurity expert. Now, I did say to you that you can have half an hour, Grant. I'm going to have to cut that down, I'm sorry, to 10 minutes, because if people are hungry, I can tell. You don't want hangry people in the room, just hungry people. So if you can, I know you can carry on a bit, which is why I'm curtailing him down to 10 minutes. And Palesa mentioned a little bit earlier about not leaving young people behind. And the fear there is that the speed with which we move, there's a genuine fear that we are leaving Africa as a whole and young Africans in particular behind because of the speed at which we move. So how do we make sure that we don't leave anybody behind? How do we move with the times and keep up with all the changes in the digital sphere? So Grant, if you can spend a little bit of time on that for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Grant Hughes, the IT manager of Engen.
Good evening, and thank you, Bobby, for the introduction, and thank you for having me. I always quite welcome it when I'm invited to speak on the topic of cybersecurity at events that really isn't IT or cyber events. And I'll tell you a short story. Last year, I went to Ecom Africa, quite a big e-commerce event. They speak about fintech and artificial intelligence, roughly 1,000 delegates. And the third speaker comes up on the topic of cybersecurity, and half the room gets up and they get a coffee, because cybersecurity is for IT people and doesn't impact everybody else. So thank you for not leaving the room just yet. I maybe wanted to share a short story with you about a group of hikers in 1996. In fact, true story. 1996, this group of hikers set out to climb Mount Everest. So quite well prepared, they were fit, they were all set, and off they went. Now, on Mount Everest, there's a rule that says if you don't get to the summit at a certain time of day, you must abandon your attempt. But this particular day, they didn't get to the summit at a specified time. So by all indicators, they needed to abandon the attempt. But they've been doing this for a long time. They knew better. And so they continued. They got to the summit too late, and they had to climb down in darkness, and they all died. Now that's quite a sad story, but we see similar resemblances in business today, the way we operate. We call it a 3-year plan or a 5-year strategy. And then we set off in a certain direction or way of doing things. And halfway in, the world starts to change around us. Evidence will start to appear that the current way and the current direction might not be the best. Then we have two options. We can continue because we've been doing this for a long time and we know what we're doing. Or we can step back and say, maybe when we went down this path, this was the right path, but things have changed. Let's step back and evaluate. And I think in the context of the internet and DNS and all things considered, we might find ourselves now at the pivotal point where everything around us is changing as well. And we might have to step back and say, is the current ways in which we're doing things still the best? Or could we do certain things better? Is there different ways of doing it? And I think that is happening, hence the invite for a cybersecurity awareness among this audience. And I think there's two reasons why that absolutely must happen. The one is the pervasiveness of internet connectivity. If we think about it, internet access and connectivity is almost like electricity. We expect it wherever we go. You walk into a building, you expect there's going to be a light switch. You go into a building, you ask, what's the Wi-Fi password? Because it must be there. And I saw a meme the other day that said, people can survive longer without water than they can without Wi-Fi. And at first it's funny, but if you think about it, it's probably true. Without Wi-Fi, it impacts education. You can't swipe your card, you can't buy groceries. There's very little you can do without connectivity. So it is quite a powerful enabler. But in the words of Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And in the context of the internet, with great power comes great risk. And specifically on a cybersecurity front, there's really two things that I want to call out. The first one is, there's a report called the Crime Density Report. It gets published every year, and South Africa is number 5 on the list. Now, this is not the list where you want to be top. This is one of those lists where you want to be far down the bottom, because what it means is cyber criminals seeing South Africa as the 5th most attractive victim in the world from a cybercrime perspective. And there's various reasons, maybe, lack of enforcement on the regulations, lack of general awareness for prosecution, and a host of other things. But we are being seen as a target. And that's why it's important that different collectives and different regulators all start to embed cybersecurity and spread the awareness in one way or another, because there's no one solution, right? Yes, we must secure DNS, but we must also secure development and coding, and we must also do authentication and multi-factor. Everybody must play their part. The other one is really around general lack of awareness. I read a book, and I see the gentleman there with the t-shirt, Think Before You Click. That's the book I read. And in there, they talk about the various scams that's facing South Africa, and very specific to our context. And one of it is puppy scams. They estimate that around 80% of all puppy adverts is a scam. And it's got to do with the psychology. People that love animals and dogs are not thinking straight when they see cute puppies. And criminals will then exploit this. And these guys, they really understand the dynamic and the psyche of humans, and then they play to these things. It's no longer just somebody random trying to exploit people. Sophisticated people that understand the time of day they need to target you, the type of tone they need to use. And that's why it's important that collectively we all do our part. So I want to end off with a short story, I think just before supper, around a lamb shank. I think it's quite appropriate to tell the story now. So there was a gentleman, and he was dating a young woman, and he was invited over for supper, and he was there while his future mother-in-law at the time was preparing supper, and he noticed that she cut off the top part of the lamb shank. And he was quite intrigued because he quite likes the top part of the lamb shank, but he's new, to the family, and so it goes. And a few years later, his wife, he was then married, his wife was preparing the lamb shank, and she too was cutting off the top part. And he asked her, why are you doing this? And she says, look, this is the way my mother does it, this is the way my grandmother, it's always been done this way. And years later, they were at the grandmother's house, and there too we observed this odd behavior of her cutting off the top part of the lamb shank. And he asked her, respectfully, why do you do this? And she said, I've been living here for 40 years. When we moved in, this house came with a really small oven. Cutting off the top part is the only way I can get it into the oven. And that's quite powerful, because she did it because she had to do it. But if our circumstances don't necessitate doing things in a certain way, doing it in one way just because it's always been done that way is not good enough. So I want to leave you with the thoughts that if you're doing nothing to get better, you are getting worse. Thank you.
Shoo, you cut that nice and short, Grant Hughes from Engen. Suppose you can go and have a chat with him later if you want some free petrol. Do you get free petrol? You don't get free petrol. What's the point of working for Engen then? I'd resign if I wasn't getting free petrol. That's the only reason I invited you. I was hoping to get some free petrol. Well, no, I'm sorry I invited you. And you made me hungry with the lamb shank, damn it. All right. What surprised me most about your talk there, and you said some really nice things and surprising things, but the thing that struck me the most, and that I was most surprised by, didn't know that bit of information, was the fact that an IT person read a book. Well done, man. Was the actual physical paper book. It was a digital book, I'm pretty sure, yeah. No, I'm kidding. Thank you, Grant. Thanks for being here. Thanks for making the time. I know you've got a young family and it's a weekday, so I appreciate it. .za, just the whole RAR sphere is loaded, and there's a lot to be said for what happens there. So our next speaker actually represents the .za registrar industry, and then we're going to have our main course. Are you guys excited? Are you happy with what you ordered? Looking forward to it. All right, so that's coming up shortly, but a round of applause, please, for Ethan Mlambo, who's going to come and address it. Ethan, stage is yours.
Hi, my name is Ethan Malambo, founder of mycosa.com, and as a domain registrar, I am thrilled to dive deep into the rich history of the South African Domain Name Authority, affectionately known as ZEDNA. Join me on a journey through time and see how ZEDNA has not only overseen the growth of South Africa's digital landscape, but has also played a pivotal role in shaping the nation's technological future. But before we can look at the history of ZEDNA, we have to take a brief look at the history of the internet in South Africa. One of the most technologically resourced countries on the African continent is expanding. The Internet Country Code top-level domain.za is managed and regulated by the .za Domain Name Authority and was granted to South Africa by the Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers in 1990. Over 60% of internet traffic generated on the African continent originates from South Africa. As of 2020, 1.5 million people were internet users. The first South African IP address was granted to Rhodes University in 1988, and on 2nd February 1989, the first email in the country was sent from the Rhodes cyber system at the university through FidoNet to Randy Bush in Portland, Oregon. On 12th November 1991, the first IP connection was made between Rhodes Computing Center and Bush in Oregon. By November 1991, South African universities were connected through UNINET to the internet. Commercial internet access for businesses and private use began in June 1992 with the registration of bksync.co.za, the first .co.za subdomain, on the 25th of June 1992. The African National Congress, South Africa's governing political party, launched its website anc.org.za in 1997, making it one of the first African political organizations to establish an internet presence. Now let's fast forward to the establishment of ZEDNA in 2002, of which it has been a beacon of innovation and regulation since its inception. At a time when the internet was gaining prominence, ZEDNA emerged as a crucial entity tasked with overseeing and regulating the registration of domain names within the .za namespace. But ZEDNA's story goes beyond mere domain management. It extends into the realms of education, legislation, and governance. In its commitment to fostering digital literacy, ZEDNA actively engages in DNS training, collaborating with MIXETA. ZEDNA has been instrumental in developing accredited DNS courses, providing individuals with the skills needed to navigate the intricacies of domain management. This initiative not only empowers professionals, but also contributes significantly to South Africa's growing digital expertise. In addition to its legislative endeavors, ZEDNA is a driving force behind the South African Internet Governance Forum. Operating under the umbrella of ZEDNA, the South African Internet Governance Forum serves as a platform for multi-stakeholder dialogue on internet-related issues. This inclusive forum brings together government, civil society, academia, and industry players to discuss and address the challenges and opportunities presented by the digital era. By fostering collaboration and dialogue, the South African Internet Governance Forum, under the guidance of ZEDNA, plays a crucial role in shaping the policies and frameworks that govern the internet in South Africa. But ZEDNA's commitment extends beyond forums and legislation. It permeates into education and empowerment. Recognizing the importance of a well-informed community, ZEDNA provides comprehensive domain reseller training and registrar training programs. These initiatives empower individuals and businesses to navigate the domain registration landscape with confidence, fostering a vibrant and competitive online environment. In parallel with these educational initiatives, Zedna has been a key player in the development and implementation of the extensible provisioning protocol system. This revolutionary system streamlined the registration process, making it more accessible and user-friendly for domain name registrars and administrators. Looking forward, Zedna remains committed to adapting to the evolving digital landscape. The organization continues to collaborate with various stakeholders, ensuring the stability and integrity of the .za domain space while actively contributing to the digital literacy and professional development of individuals across the nation. In conclusion, the history of the South African Domain Name Authority is a testament to adaptability, growth, and resilience. From its inception to the present day, Zedna has not only shaped the digital identity of South Africa, but has also invested significantly in educating and empowering individuals to thrive in the digital age. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. I always wonder whether somebody who joins us in a pre-recording still deserves a round of applause, do they? Because they're not here, they can't appreciate the applause. So somebody's got to go tell him that he had a round of applause. I was told so clearly by Angel. Angel, by the way, is from Zedna, and she's the one who put all of this together. Can I have a round of applause for her very quickly, please? If you haven't met her yet, go and shake her hand. She's wonderful. She put all of this together, and she was so clear. She's at the door over there. That's Angel. She put this whole thing. In fact, I know that I introduced Molay earlier as the CEO of Zedna, and he kind of runs the place, but Angel is the one. She makes him believe that he's in charge, but she's, you know, women, they make us think that we're the boss, but actually she's the boss. She put it all together. She told me earlier, Bobby, when it gets to Ethan, please, he's not physically present. He is going to be, we're playing a video of him. Please remember that. And then she handed me a glass of wine, which is why I forgot. So that's my explanation. So we are, do you know what? Before I introduce you to dinner, which is going to be lovely, by the way, I know that was a very interesting presentation, but there's something that caught my attention, which I've always wanted to say to an audience, and now that I've had a glass of wine, I will. So how come, I was having a chat a little bit earlier, and somebody, Grant, actually said to Angel, how did you find DNS people? Nobody knows who they are or where they are. How did you find them? And she had a method. But interestingly, one of the thoughts I have is that when internet hardware, computer hardware, when they name it, why is it always a naughty name? Why is it always a name that you think, I wonder who came up with that name? Like a hard drive, for example, right? And stiffy. I mean, somebody, and floppy, yes. So somebody obviously thought up the name Stiffy, and then somebody said, how about floppy, right? And obviously they had a bit of a laugh at each other and poked each other and so on. And now I'm learning from Ethan that the first email in South Africa was sent to a guy called Randy Bush. Come on, that's really? There's a man called Randy Bush. Is he a floppy or a stiffy? It's supper time, everybody. We're going to have the awards right after supper. Enjoy. right, hands up. Who had the fish? I'm so sorry for you guys. My table was a carnivorous table for the most part, and we had the steak, and you do not know what you missed. It was delicious. Are you vegan if you chose the? What's the matter with? Why did you come out here and have fish? All right, folks, we are finally at that time of the evening, the second most important reason why you came this evening after the free meal. So let me tell you what this personality award is all about. And forgive me if I'm not making eye contact because I want to get it right, so I'm going to be reading some of the notes I made here. This is to recognize a highly respected and outstanding ICT professional who's made a significant technical or academic contribution to the .za namespace over several years. The following detailed criteria should be followed. The nominee has made a positive impact in the sector for the past 5 or more years. The nominee is well respected and has occupied oversight roles and has led organizations in the DNS sector and ICT sectors in general. The nominee must have made technical and academic contributions to the DNS sector and the ICT sectors, and the nominee must have aided the development needs of communities benefiting from the DNS sector and the ICT sector. So that is a broad spectrum. They had to have achieved quite a bit. And as far as I understand, the people who made the decision, the judges, chewed on this and digested this and discussed this for a very, very long time. So I'm not going to hog the limelight. I'm going to reintroduce you to the CEO of ZADNA, Molei Iwesi, to come onto the stage very quickly and to come and take the limelight and introduce us to our very first inaugural winner of the ZADNA Awards.
There's a saying in Sesotho I won't mention about ears. Once more, thank you very much, Program Director. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and to everyone else. I won't speak too much. My job is quite easy at this juncture, is to really introduce a person that ticked all the boxes. One has to confess that it was an interesting journey in terms of those that were nominated. Before people ask questions, there were quite a considerable amount of nominees. And we landed with the most capable nominee that we think well deserves the award. Everyone actually knows the gentleman. He has had a considerable run within the space. In one form or the other, starting from the bottom one, he has a very great passion of assisting those that really are passionate and interested in the space. He has occupied the roles and still continues to occupy those roles where he influences some of the standards that, fun enough, guide me as a regulator to a certain extent. And he has also had, considerable changes effected within the space based on his inputs and influence. And sharing what he said last week, is it last week or last week, that he has been longer in South Africa than most of us have existed on Earth. So it gives me great pleasure to give this award to Mr. Mark Elkins. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. It was heavy. You thought it was me.
Would you like to say a few words, Mark?
I was told I had no, I couldn't say no. Thank you very much for the award. So yes, if I look at history, back in 1990 something-ish, early 90s, Vic Shaw crossed the Atlantic and went and chatted to John Pastel and said he wanted AC.ZA for the academic people. And he came back with AC.ZA and realized that he also could have other second level domains as well. So unfortunately, both of them passed away. Met both of them, of course. Before Vic Shaw passed away, he came and found me at Olivetti at that time and said, Mark, would you like to run this CO.ZA thing for commercial organizations? And I hadn't a clue what he was talking about. So that never happened then. Yet a few years later, after Mike Laurie came into the picture and was now running ZA and also CO.ZA, at the second ever sort of meeting like this of ISP members, he brought us all, well, it was the second such meeting. He came and said, well, I'm going to start charging people 500 Rand or something like that. Well, 500 for a list of random letters. And if you want something that actually means something, a word or your company or something, then he was going to charge something like 5,000. Or maybe someone else can do this. And so two people put their hands up. I was one of the two people. Except I was very lucky. I had this group called Uniforum SA sort of behind me. And so I was granted permission to take over CO.ZA on behalf of Uniforum SA. And the people that were in Uniforum SA are certainly in this room as well. And we took it and we automated it. And I honestly believe that we're in this room because of the success of CO.ZA, which is now sitting at 1.3-ish million or something, by far the largest domain name or zone in Africa. And it's helped us to grow the internet, I believe, in South Africa and also in Africa. I went on to push the Afrinic agendas. We'll hear more about that tomorrow. Calvin, for example, I think he's missed 3 ICANN meetings, or is it 2? Is it 7? That many missed? Yeah, but this is the ones you didn't go to, not the ones you did. Okay, 7 out of 80. So, and we, we've measured ourselves against everyone else, and I really believe that we've actually done very, very well. We've had open policies, anyone could register domains and things like that, which has made the domain name growth, certainly in Africa, much easier. And, what else am I doing? Oh yeah, we're doing a DNS intro course in a couple of weeks' time as well. So if you haven't done that, get your names down quick. Thank you very much.
The first ever winner of the ZA Awards. This is going to go down in history. The man who was there when the internet started. The man who took the very first awards from Zadna. The first prize winner. Well done, Mark. Aren't you glad that you wore your formal t-shirt today?
On that previous...
Mic over here, please. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, on that previous video presentation that was done, there was actually a picture of me wearing a suit and tie.
You wore a suit and tie at one stage?
It was on that previous... and I was nudged. Mark, can you please wear that again one day? I'm a techie.
Yes, please. Mark wrote the software for the email-based registration system, and all the spelling mistakes were his.
You know, it's funny because I don't know how many people are watching the live stream on YouTube at the moment or on Zoom at the moment, but it's interesting to me how these, and I don't know how many, there's 40, 50 people in the room. It's a small gathering. And in some form, some way, some style, they've affected all your lives in some way or the other. Because if you use a smartphone, if you send an email, if you've just heard, if you go online, if you surf Pornhub, if you surf Facebook, or any of those reputable sites, then they've affected your life in some way or the other. And that's just very, very interesting that this small number of people have had such a great impact in all our lives. So Mark, well done. Congratulations to you, sir. The first winner of the Zadna Awards. All right, so this is where we take another bit of a breather because we're going to cleanse our palates with some sweets. I hope that you've chosen the correct dessert this time, not the fish. There is a DJ here. We are aware that you are an IT crowd and that you love to party and that you love to dance. So we made sure that there's going to be good music. A DJ is going to be on the decks in a little bit. We're going to have closing remarks. Don't go just yet. Enjoy your dessert, closing remarks, and then you can party, okay? All right, everybody. We're nearing the end mark. Almost time to party. We've got one more closing words. And then we're going to enjoy. You guys enjoying the dessert? It's good, eh? Shoo. It's decadent stuff, that. I think everybody had the chocolatey thing, isn't it? From the looks of it, yeah. It's really good. Good catering, Zadna. Thank you. Obviously, the membership fees are working hard. Don't complain. When the next invoice arrives, don't complain. You've eaten it. Okay. All right. So, if I may invite the deputy chairperson of Zadna onto the stage, please, for our closing remarks while we enjoy the rest of our dessert, Ms. Veronica Mutlautsi.
Bobby, this is a good motivation for a fee increase, right? Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw close, I just want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for being part of this remarkable event. Can we just pause right now and just give a hand to all the organizers? They've done a wonderful job. Thank you, Bobby, for facilitating this session. You are amazing. I was talking to Peter. He will get you a new cap. I almost confused you to one of the criminals in Cape Town. So I think we need to get you something that will represent us very well. We are not that old. Tonight we celebrated the iniquity, dedication and resilience of those shaping the ZA namespace and propelling South African digital landscape forward. And congratulations once again, Mark. We are proud of you and the work that you are doing in this space. I hope in this ceremony we shared insights and exchanged ideas as we sat around the table on how we can take this industry forward, particularly take into consideration that we need to transform the sector and it must represent the landscape of South Africa. I encourage each and every one of you to stay connected, to collaborate, to strive for excellence in your endeavors. Together, we will ensure that the .za domain name remain a beacon of innovation and opportunity in South Africa and beyond. Thank you once again for your participation, your passion, and your unwavering commitment to the ZA community. Until we meet again, let us continue to push the boundaries of possibility and build a brighter digital future for all. Safe travel to everyone. Enjoy your food as well, and may success follow you in all your endeavors. Good night.
Veronica, thank you so much. That's it for us this evening. Mark, again, congratulations, everybody. Please go and tell your friends, everybody in this TNS sector, that next year they got to check out Zadna's website, zadna.org.za, for the new categories in the new year. Top DNS Personality, Zadna Members Award, the top emerging RAR, best designed and accessible website, top.za registrar. That's all the categories for the new year when we meet again, hopefully double the size and hopefully with a bigger party. There is a DJ in the house. He's going to join us shortly. You're welcome to stay, enjoy the rest of the red wine, the white wine, the bubbly. And if you forget everything that happened here this evening, remember two things. The live stream will live on the Zadna YouTube channel, and Wi-Fi is more important than water. The password is your something. You're welcome. There you go. Folks, I'm Bobby Brown. I am the breakfast show host for Magic 828 on AM. Check me out in the mornings, but only if you like good music. Have a good evening.